Hi everyone, so today's session we're going to be using the earth and how we navigate through this grounded sensation, this place where we rise from, we end up back at, and using the strength of this mother nature, this constant shield of support, of everything we ever need is within the earth. And so we're going to really tap into this unlimited resource in today's session. So once again, we're just going to come to our mat. My feet facing forward, I'm hip width apart, my toes, my knees, and I'm going to bend my knees, keeping that line ending up forward. And I'm actually just going to start lifting up my toes, but keeping this bentness. So I'm trying to keep as low and as grounded as I can be, not trying to bob up and down, but staying where I am. Slowly moving through the feet. Finding that resistance to the earth beneath us as we're bringing our body weight down. My core centre's engaged, it's moving into my spine. I'm going to start by rolling back my shoulders as well. Finding a time and a rhythm that works. Whether it's one roll on one foot at the same time. Just allowing yourself to experiment. Finding the strength from your core and your groundedness. Just going to do 3 more of these. Then we're going to bring our hands together, spreading our toes, spreading our fingers. Engaging the core, we're coming down into chair. Coming as low down as we can, keeping those knees, those legs where they are. Keeping that core engaged, so I'm not dipping. I'm staying engaged, the length of my spine. We're going to do a little circle where an exhale, fold down. Inhale, come up to chair. So it's this difference between relaxing and engaging. Relaxing and engaging. And we're going to do this in our own time. Strengthening those legs, pulling those shoulders down, feeling the motion of the spine. It's going to be quite intense on the legs. So if at any time you need to break, you can just rest down here, placing the hands straight in the legs if that works for you. Knowing to give yourself time and care and understanding. We're going to do 3 more of these, with the chair and the fold being one. And on your 3rd and final time, you're going to relax your body down into this resting pose, hands on the floor, shifting the weight forward, so the weight is now in between my hands and my legs. And then exhale, I'm bringing my right leg back, coming into a low lunge, my hands are either side of my left leg, my left knee is over my left ankle, and finding length in the spine. I'm going to spread my fingers, I'm going to push into the mat. I'm going to keep that leg lifted. So I'm keeping my toes on my knee or my knees in line as I come into a variation of plank. And exhale, coming into full plank, pushing against the floor, the shoulders, keeping the length in the neck as I look at the top of my mat. Exhale, I'm bringing those hips down towards the floor, but keeping my toes where they are, keeping that leg or those legs nice and straight. Might gently rock forward and back, and then swing the hips side to side as I allow my knees, my toes to roll down, and I pull back into child's pose. Resting my head on the mat, the fingers are spread, walking those hands as far forward as they can, feeling the stretch in my upper spine. And resting the hips and the lower back. Then exhale, I'm coming forward again. Coming up into my plank. Pushing to find space to bring that right knee forward. Right knee is over the right hip, my back leg is nice and straight. Finding length in the spine. Pushing away actively with my hands and with my feet. And with an exhale, I'm pushing it into the floor, coming into that variation of plank with either my knees together or my knees and my toes. With the next exhale, coming into plank. Find other length in the spine, pushing away from the floor. Exhaling, bringing the hips down but keeping the toes where they are. Lengthening the spine, looking up in front of us. So rock forward and back slightly and gently to find comfort. We may swing side to side. Before we come back to centre, relax the feet down and curl back into child's pose. Head on the mat, fingers spread. Even though we're resting in child's pose, we're still very active. My fingers are working forward as if they're worms crawling in the earth. My shoulders are pulled down. With an exhale, and allow ourselves to come forward. Bring our knees to either edge of the mat, or if we're not on a mat, it's a foot distance outside your hips. With an exhale, you're going to pull back. So my backs of my feet are still on the ground, but I'm just in a wider version of child's pose. This can be quite an intense stretch, so you may want to start on your elbows and keeping that head in line. Or if you're wanting to advance it even more, allowing the head to rest towards the mat, hands in front. And here we're just opening up the hips, we're feeling the connection to the earth beneath us, as you're allowing ourselves to lie as flat as we can on the earth. With an exhale, we're folding forward, and we're going to bring that left leg forward, keeping the right leg where it is. So we come into this zigzag shape. So it's kind of like the number 3, if I had something coming off my knee. I'm just going to sit here as upright as I can, engage in the core. My right hand comes to the outer of my left knee. I'm continuing that twist, looking behind me as much as I can, feeling stretched down from my neck and into my back. Staying here for 3 natural breaths. We're allowing ourselves to sink and relax into the floor beneath us. As we exhale, we're spiraling back round again. I'm just going to spiral so you can see me. From here, we're going to pick up that left foot and we're going to rest it on the top part of our right leg as close to the thigh and the hip as we can. You may want to put something underneath to rest. And you're going to sit here in a half variation of a hero pose. So this is a nice bound pose. We're opening up the hips. We're allowing that left knee to move towards the ground. The importance here and the importance of today's session is being as relaxed as we can. The earth has so many things that happen to it. It gets dug up, it gets built into buildings, but it always reminds itself to stay calm and to nurture itself, to allow things to continue to grow. And in these stretches, we don't want to over push, we don't want to be pushing, we don't want to be doing anything. We just want to be resting where we are and allowing our body to naturally grow and unfold itself. If we're wanting to increase this stretch at all, we're going to sit on the back of our right foot and then bring that foot back up to where it was. So this is a bit more intense on the right knee, as we're right on the back of the foot instead of it being out. We're just going to stay here, wherever we are in variation 1 or variation 2, for 2 more deep breaths. And as we come out of it, we just gently place that left foot down, and we bring that right foot out as we swap sides. Bringing the left leg behind, the right foot in front. We just stay with our breath, allowing ourselves to relax both the hips into the earth so we're not too far forward or too far back. And we're just being kind to ourselves as we open up the other side, knowing there may be differences between the right and the left. today's session all about kindness, stillness and growing. We're really noticing our breath more so than ever. This growing, this care all coming from the nourishment of our breath. And as we lift up that right foot and place it at the highest point towards our left thigh, you can put a cushion or a blanket or something underneath if that helps. And just stay in with the breath there. If this is not comfortable on either side, you can just put the foot onto the lower point of the thigh and lean forward as we're engaging in that stretch. Just doing whatever works for you, knowing again that each side can be different. And if you're wanting added support, you can just hold onto that ankle so you're applying less pressure from the foot directly into the leg. And just staying with the breath, noticing any twists, turns, curves, as well as the straightness and the stillness in our body. This idea of the curved, the spherical earth, but also the flat moments when we're on this earth, we feel as flat, hence flat earthers. That is another debate. If we're wanting to increase the stretch, here's the time to do it by bringing the right foot down and tucking that left foot as close to our bum as we can, allowing us to rest on the back of the foot as we bring back up our left foot. We're going to stay with this breath for 4 more deep breaths, wherever we are. Noticing the stillness, the centre of our core, and how relaxed we are into the earth beneath us. And on our final exhale, we're just going to gently come out of that as we come into a crossed-legged position. We're keeping the heels in line, so both the heels are as far forward, and we're working at being as flat on the backs of our feet as we can. It can be quite hard, it's not a normal motion for a lot of people, and it offers a lot of stretch. So right now we're just sitting where we naturally are. As we notice our natural breath again, with an exhale we're moving forward by bringing those paws, those claw hands, keeping our sit bones on the ground, but allowing our torso to fold over our hips. Come into wherever is natural. If you're wanting to rest on your elbows, to ease it up, or if you're wanting to hang, if we're not fully flat on the floor. But the main thing here is keeping the length in the spine. My gaze, my drishti, is in the meeting point of my elbows in between my thumbs. The important thing here is not to push yourself too far, but to really allow yourself to relax into the earth and find its comfort and support. As our earth, our grounding, can be seen today to be in our hips and the lower of our core. As we exhale, we come back. We're just swapping our feet round. Again, heels nice and lined in the centre of our body. With an exhale, bringing our claws, we're walking forward on the earth, allowing ourselves to rest. The best thing to do to rest is to allow yourself to be in this pose for as long as you can be. Sometimes talking or humming just distracts the mind, or tuning into your breath to give space and comfort. Reminding ourselves to not push ourselves too far, as a tree that grows from the earth starts as a young sapling. We exhale, walking back on the ground beneath us. From here, I'm just rolling my feet forwards and backwards, trying to keep the heels in line and giving motion and movement, this circular thing that we've discussed a few times in different sessions. But my main aim is to keep my torso as long as I can, and I'm using the strength of my hips to push my foot forward to create space to allow these feet to alternate. And this just warms up the hips, but it also gives it a really nice stretch. It gives it motion. As we're dragging, we're feeling the groundedness of ourself. You know, we may want to be resting against a wall just to make sure that we're not tucking and falling backwards, but we're still upright. We're also feeling the earth beneath us. It's as if we're sowing seeds. We've got to rake that soil, we've got to create that space. And right now we're creating space within our body. Right now we're creating friction. We may want to think about something that we're going to sow, something that we're going to allow to grow within us, and we're going to find the strength of the earth to grow that for us. We're going to do 2 more of these 4 rotations, imagining a circular motion. And then on an exhale, we're just bringing those knees, those feet in front of us, folding over, allowing the head to rest between the knees and the hands on top of the feet. We're feeling the connection from the earth to the soles of the feet to our hands, from our legs to our head to our neck to our sit bones. We're really allowing this neck to relax as we've been working on sitting upright. And then we're going to hug around our thighs. Exhale, bringing those legs forward as far as is comfortable for us. They don't need to be completely flat. But again, we're working on having that nice flat back. So this is kind of like the turtle that we did about a week and a bit back now, by having this covering underneath us but finding this length. So warming up our legs, our hamstrings. With an exhale, we're straightening our legs, holding on to the backs of our toes as we flex those feet and lengthen our body. We're feeling the support from the earth, but we're actually feeling the space that we've created, that we've grown, as we're moving from this lower position to this higher position. We're going to bring our right foot in between our knee and the top of our thigh on the left leg. And we're going to fold forward with each hand either side of the foot, holding on if we can, if not resting on the ground. Want to keep that nice and even, and allowing the back and the body to relax. The head is working towards the knee today as we're moving towards the earth, but again allowing ourselves to grow and develop without being forced. We're going to stay here for 3 more nice natural breaths. With each exhale, you're feeling your body relax more, feeling support and the comfort from the earth. As we exhale, roll up from the spine, allowing the head to be last. We're going to swap to bring that right leg straight, that left leg tucking in, feeling the connection to the thigh. Exhaling, falling forward. Bringing that head towards the knee. My left knee is working towards the floor, but it's okay if it's not there. As we become aware, as we stretch on this side, the connections and the wanted connections to the earth of our hands, our feet, our leg, the bent leg which is working towards, and our head which is working towards the earth. As we stay here for 3 more nice natural breaths, with every exhale giving ourselves more and more to the earth, finding comfort. And with that exhale, we're going to roll up, the head being last. As we're going to spiral round, coming back into plank, working at keeping that left leg up that we were doing. My shoulders are directly above my hands as I'm pulling back into my 3-legged dog, but today I'm straightening that top leg. I'm working at keeping my hips connected to the floor beneath me, my left leg stretching up to the sky, my ears are in line, and at any time I can rest my foot down. So it can be helpful to lift and tap, lift and tap, keeping our body and our connection to the earth as pure and in line as we can. Teaming this up with our natural breath. As we do 2 more of these. Lifting and tapping. And your third and final tap, we're going to go fall forward into plank, onto our knees, and back down into child's pose. Allowing the head to rest on the mat, the fingers to spread, to be actively reaching forward. I'm going to stay here for 3 more natural breaths. And as we come up, we're coming back to plank, but this time with the right leg lifted. So with an exhale, we're folding forward, lifting up to plank, keeping that right leg up if we can. My shoulders are directly above my wrists. As I pull back into my 3-leg dog, lift that right leg up to the ceiling. And now with natural breath, I'm tapping and lifting. Tapping and lifting. Keeping that connection to the earth, the natural breath, and keeping the legs as straight as we can. We can do 2 more of these. So we fold back forward into plank, onto our knees, and back down into child's pose. And from child's pose, we're going to move our hands towards the left-hand side, allowing the torso to follow, but keeping the back legs where they can. Going as far as feels natural and comfortable, keeping those shoulders pulled down, the head, the gaze is in line between my 2 elbows. I'm feeling the stretch along the side of the body. And then exhale and walking backwards again. As I move towards the right-hand side, shoulders pulled down, gaze between my 2 elbows. And then exhale, I walk myself back round. Folding my body up. So coming into this half plank position, my shoulders are above my ankles, my shoulders above my wrists even, but my core is still directly tucked in. I'm going to come down into a chaturanga, which means I'm coming down in the press-up-like position, but I'm staying about 1 inch off the floor. Exhale, coming back up and into plank. So it's almost like we're doing push-ups. And again, we're going to fall forward. With the exhale, I'm going to come down, keeping the elbows as strong towards the chest as I can. Exhale, pushing up and folding back into child's pose. And now as we do this, we're going to find the motion of the spine, the motion of our breath. As we fold forward, allow the length coming down, up and back. Then do 2 more of these. Not thinking as much about how far down we're going, but we're keeping that length and that flow in the spine, taking our strength from the earth. As we rest again in child's pose. This time circling the hands around on the earth till they meet the palms of our feet. And we rest here. And our final pose. So coming back to rabbit, the top of my head comes as close to my body as I can. My hands are holding the soles of my feet. With an exhale, I'm bringing my hips up, keeping my hands where they are. I'm feeling the stretch on my upper back as my hands and feet pull against each other. The weight is shared between my feet, my knees and my hands. All the pressure shouldn't be on the head, but it should be light enough to be able to lift up if you need. We exhale, coming down into child's pose, feeling the head brush against the mat as we lift ourselves up. Nice and straight. Coming back into the room. Bringing the feet slightly outside the sit bones. And wiggle our way down into a seated position. Having a cushion underneath if we need. Leaning forward and holding on if we need an added support. It can be quite tense on the knee. We're feeling ourselves, our centre of gravity drop between our feet into the earth. As we exhale, move forward and come back to our knees. Shaking off whatever we need, twisting the body, shaking the hands, allowing yourself to come out of the session however makes sense for you. So thank you so much for joining today, and I hope to see you soon.